Hello, I'm ShadowyKorkut, and welcome to an extension of the Shadowy Collective. So today we're going to start trying out programming. Okay, so I started a new project. I think I'm using C#, but I'm not really entirely sure how you even test that. Okay, so I think what the stereotypical thing to do is learn how to do hello world, right?
Me watching a video without seeing it said Python in bright yellow.
Okay, so I watched a video and it said to do print, and then you open parentheses. Oh, and then hello. Oh no, wait. I think I needed. What are these called? In Spanish, they're called comillas. Hello world. Can I use exclamation marks? What is this? What the heck? The name print does not exist in the current context. But this guy's doing it. How do I even run it? Oh. There were build errors. Would you like to continue and run the last successful build? Yes. The name print does not exist. Okay, so I guess I couldn't find online how to do it. But apparently you go console.writeLine. And then you do, I needed whatever this is. Okay, well I guess it opened something over here. But there it is, it's hello world, it did work. Okay, so I guess I am kind of super inexperienced. So I'm gonna follow some tutorials and I'll come back and see how much I've improved. So it's been a month, and I'll just say I'm currently very irresponsible. I forgot to mention, but I'm currently taking a C++ class, and the semester's almost over, and I kind of didn't really learn anything. I think the reason is because the way we're learning how to program is through a book. All you have to do is literally click through a bunch of stuff and it gives you a perfect grade with no consequences if you get stuff wrong. And I keep telling myself that I'm going to restart the whole book and actually pay attention. But I think, as you can tell from my last session, that I kind of have no clue about anything. My main interest is to learn how to do C# because I'm learning how to do Unity for my project. But I guess I would want to learn all the programming languages I can. And you're seeing me at my lowest low. That's kind of the whole point of this channel, right? I'm starting from the bottom, and I can only improve from here. And if you'd like to help me and others stay accountable, you could join my Discord. So what am I gonna do? I think I'm gonna start from lecture 3, and here is everything that is in lecture 3, and then I'll come back and I'll explain what I learned. I don't know. I think it will be really cool being able to look back on myself from the beginning. I feel will be really interesting once I get really good at this stuff I want to learn. But okay, I'll be back.
One eternity later.
I'm back. I've been trying to get through chapter 3, but there's also a lot of other stuff going on in my life, so I'm not getting through this chapter fast enough because I want this video to be released already. My plan sort of is, once I release this video, I'll end up posting on certain locations so that people can join my Discord. There's already quite a bit of people in there, but I've kind of been inconsistent with them. But I think at least what I've been setting up in my head is that I'm going to post this and then I'll join voice calls and study in there. And then eventually, I hope, people will join me and maybe they'll want to study with me as well. And I think just the idea of me being in a Discord call and anyone can join at any time would help me stay on task because I feel I get distracted really easily. I did get through a bit of what I showed earlier. I took some notes, ignore my drawings. And my thought was I was just going to explain it, but this might sound a little weird, but I have had this idea about making rice pudding while explaining the programming concepts. And I don't even really like rice pudding that much. It's just I don't really eat sweets all that often, and I was wondering if I could make rice pudding but with quinoa, because they're both grains, so they should work. So let's go to the kitchen and I'll explain the little that I did learn. I hope that transition worked. The lighting in here was terrible, so I brought in my lamp. The reason why I stopped doing the book was because I said that today I was gonna finish it, and the website is down. So I just decided to explain what I know now while making quinoa pudding. I've also refrained myself from looking up how to make quinoa pudding because I looked it up and apparently I think it is a thing. I just usually eat quinoa, and I was wondering if I could make rice pudding but with quinoa. I also found this. I was surprised to find this brand in the US. I've only seen this in Mexico because that's where I grew up. So I wasn't expecting to see this at Kroger. But I'm just gonna use a random rice pudding recipe and I'll just follow it. Okay, so the guy said to get milk, and I guess I'll end up putting 4.5 cups of milk into the pot. Okay, so something I learned was that statements, they typically end with a semicolon. Then we have strings that are values represented by a string of letters. Like if I were to write paper equals black, then black would be a string and paper would be a variable. And I think it's called that because it can vary and it can be assigned something else later. Then we have integers, which if I do something like age equals 10, then the 10 would be the integer and the age would be the variable. Then we also have floats, which are like basically the same thing. It's just that floats instead use decimal numbers, and like I said, the integer is a whole number. The thing I had like questions of when I was reading about this is if floats do the same thing integers do and more because of the decimals, why won't you just use integers? And I tried looking it up, but then I learned about doubles, which I'm still not entirely sure what that means, but it said it was better to use doubles instead of floats. So then why would you use an integer? I don't know. Let me know if you know. Then I also saw that return 0 ends the program, and to start and end, you should use curly braces. Milk is warming up. Well, you can see like all the steam coming off. Oh my goodness. Do you see this? It rose so much. I've never seen milk do that. I'm actually kind of worried. What the heck? Okay, well, what I was trying to say is that statements go one by one. I think it was like from top to bottom. So you always have to declare your variable first so that it can hold a value, like the age and then the number. Because if you do it the other way around, it won't know that age is an integer, and then it makes it an integer, but then it's too late and it will give you an error. An example they gave is like if you tell someone, hey, go grab a teapot and fill it with water, then that makes sense. But if you tell someone to fill it with water and then grab a teacup, they might not know what to fill with water if you haven't told them it's a teacup yet. Whoa, oh my goodness. This is very thick. I also learned that in C++, you do C in and C out, which I was originally reading it as count and sin. I didn't recognize it was like C in and C out. I also learned how to do single line comments and like block comments with a // and a /*, so that the IED, I guess, would skip over them, and they are just for humans to read them to understand like what the current programmer was trying to say. Another topic I sort of struggled to understand was clicking the tab button, because the book said that you shouldn't really use tabs, but it didn't really fully explain why. And then it said that you should typically use spaces to do like indentations. And I think from what I researched online was that tabs are different characters. Even though it looks like individual ones, it's like one big character, and they're different than spaces. And to you, it might look like 4 spaces, but to someone else, it might like move everything along and might make errors and stuff. So, I mean, I'm not fully sure yet, so I'm just gonna use spaces, I guess. Then they also mentioned to focus on the first error message you get. And actually, okay, this part was interesting. Like each, you can execute each line that you have in code, and everything you write after doesn't really fully matter, because what matters is everything you write before. So at any point in the code writing process, you can run it and see if it works. And you have to make sure that any errors you get, you should work and figure out the first error you get and not try to fix them all at once, because further errors down the line could be caused by an earlier one, and if you try to fix it, you might get more errors and it would be more of a waste of time, I think. And these are called compile time errors, and they're usually like if you forget to put a semicolon at the end of like one of the lines. But there's another type of error that you can get that the system won't tell you about, which is a logic error, aka bugs. And these are like errors that the IED will run anyway because it makes sense, but it might not be what you intended. For example, if you wanted to do 2 plus 4 and you accidentally put a asterisk making it multiply, like the IED doesn't know that you were trying to do a plus, and you are able to do 2 times 4. And then later down the line, you're gonna be like, why did I get this bigger number when I just wanted to get 6? They also mentioned how in 1947, Harvard had like a computer that wasn't working or something. So when they checked it, they found a moth in it. And that's why they're called bugs. And once they found the moth, they taped it in their logbook. And it's still preserved. I don't know. I thought that was kind of cool. They did try to make it like really clear that good practice is to frequently run your code because apparently new people learning programming write like a lot of lines of code and then run it, and you should like instead constantly be checking it because the book says that even experienced programmers also frequently check their code by running it. Then they talked about warnings, that they are things that come up when the IED detects a possible logic issue, and it said it would be good practice to write code with no warnings or errors. So I think warnings are like the IED telling you that your code probably has an issue you don't want, but it still technically works, but it's not ideal, or maybe it's outdated. And the book said that most IEDs come with like a level of warnings that you can increase, and that a lot of programmers recommend you to increase it so that you catch all the warnings. Okay, it's like 5 a.m. now, but I said that I would get this video done today. I think this might have been a failure. You can sort of see it there. I tried to garnish it with marshmallows, but it really just turned out to be like watery. I swore online said that you could make quinoa with milk. We're gonna compare it to store-bought rice pudding. Okay, so our quinoa pudding. Well, that was horrendous. I should have made less. I really hate wasting food, but I generally thought it would work. I mean, why wouldn't it? I've made quinoa before, so maybe it's because the milk was rising so much. Maybe it has to do something with air. Now the store-bought one. Yeah, it's like, okay. Well, I guess I'll have to research it better next time. But for now, I guess I'll mention that the last thing I learned about was about bits and how you can either enter a 1 or a 0. I mean, I recently got to this part, and then this is when the Zybooks went offline. But from what I remember, it was talking about light switches and how they like could automate it or something. And it's like, I think turning it on was positive, and that was like a 1, and turning it off was not negative. It was 0 voltage or something, and that was a 0 because 0 voltage. And that's why computers use 0s and 1s, I think. Okay, let's go back to the desk. Desk time. Okay, so I've cleaned up a little bit. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna write some real code. I've pre-written all of this because this is all this stuff that I don't really know what it does. I think they have to do something with like getting a library of stuff to identify the code, but I don't get why it wouldn't come when you open the program up. So let me think what I'm gonna make.
Thinking has been completed.
Okay, so because I have like limited knowledge right now, I think maybe the best thing I could make that could maybe be a little complicated is make a rating system where I rate a bunch of stuff and then it can give me the average of all the numbers I entered. and we're gonna do it about anime. Okay, so first I'm gonna have to declare the variables, which I do by writing int, and then I guess I'm gonna write the anime. So let's jump when I'm done. Okay, so I wrote down some anime here, and I guess how the book said, I guess we should test it out and see if anything happens. Okay, I guess it worked. We of course got multiple warnings, but no errors. Okay, so now I guess what we're gonna have to do is ask the person for the rating of each anime and then put it into each of the variables. So it would go something like this. What do you rate Shinsekai Yori? And then their answer will go into the variable that we declared up here. So now let me go do that for all of the anime. Okay, I'm done writing down all the questions and relating it back up here. So here's all of them. And if we run it, it works. It asks me to rate it. So we're doing good so far. So now we're gonna have to get the average out of all of these. And I think we can do that by adding all of them up and then dividing it by the amount of things that we have. So we have 15 and okay, I'll just show you. Okay, so I wrote the sum and just wrote each anime and a plus next to all of them. And then I divided it by 15. I also set the sum and average up here. Now I'm gonna write the display message. Oh, well, actually, we should probably check if this works. There's build errors. See, this is why we check. Okay, my build error was that I, in fact, forgot my semicolon. So now if we run it, it does work. Okay, so for the final message, I'll do your average rating of these specific anime is, then we'll print whatever the average ends up being, some exclamation marks, and end the line. Which I'm not entirely sure we do need an end line here, but it's there now. Okay, let's run it now. So I'm pretty sure this is what the program is, right? So is this like an app? Like, is this representing like one of these down here? Like an app you can interact with? Because if so, that's kind of cool. Because an issue I had with Zybooks is like, you don't have like something that pops up like this. You sort of just insert everything all at once and then it like runs it and checks if you're getting the answers right. And I mean, in part, this is like my Zybooks experience. And I'd say like, I think it's pretty cool to learn if you like really pay attention to it. But I feel like if they mentioned more like, hey, use an actual IDE and like test the stuff, like I feel like I've learned a lot more trying to make this than just reading the book and like testing things out on it, because like this is a real like programming place, I guess. There's a video I watched and in part of it they talk about learning languages.
Here's a clip.
Yeah, nobody speaks English. Or even if they do, it's like maybe 1%. I don't even know how we studied English in school for 11 years and still end up not speaking it.
I get that. I get that because I took Spanish for many years. And unless I'm in a Spanish-speaking country or speaking Spanish every day, my Spanish goes...
I didn't speak any English. I only started learning it 3 years ago.
Oh my God! That's incredible! She only started speaking English 3 years ago, and now she's making English language content? That's so sick.
And I find it very interesting because I think this applies to everything, not just languages. Like we can go to school and learn, but I feel like most people just go and feel forced to learn, or maybe feel threatened, like they have to get a good grade and that's what they focus on instead of the learning aspect, because they feel like if they don't do well, then it can harm their future. When on the other side, if you do it like out of genuine interest, like that girl that said that she started learning English recently and like she saw a lot of improvement. I think that's because she did it, you know, like it's a difference when like you go to school and you go out of your way to like buy a book and like spend your own time to learn something. And that's sort of what I want to do, like spend my own time learning things that I'm interested in for my own ideas, instead of just going to school fearing my future. Okay, sorry, rant over. So now we're going to see if this worked out. Okay, so I'm just going to use the ratings that I've rated on my Mal. Check out my account if you'd like to go through it and recommend me any anime you think I'd like. But keep in mind, I used to watch a lot of anime before and I don't do as much now. So these ratings are kind of like skewed and not as well organized. And I also watched and rated them like a really long time ago. I've been on my anime list for like 6 years now. But if you'd like to give me recommendations, check out my favorite anime and favorite characters tab. I'm sure they're going to change, but I guess I'm displaying the ones that are there currently. But okay, Shinsekai Yuri. We're not just monkeys. This is my favorite anime of all time. I think it's extremely underrated and people have a lot of issues with it. But I think it's just because it's not popular enough, people don't really theorize as much as I think they should. Because in my mind, I think everything does make sense. But I love it. Extremely good. Recommend. 10 out of 10. Also, keep in mind I've completed 298 anime. Though a lot of these I watched, of course, because I thought I would like them. There's time I forced myself to watch even though I knew I wasn't going to like them. But the majority I ended up putting on hold, which I think I have like 75. And I guess I kind of dropped a couple of them. But okay, now Blood Sea. I say this was okay. I give it a 6. I haven't seen it like in a really long time, so I like barely remember it. Yuri on Ice. Everyone was talking about it at the time. I watched it, and Steins Gate, 10 out of 10. Serial Experiments Lane, 10 out of 10 as well, of course. Loved it.
Let's all love Lane. 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 Lane.
Prison School, I remember being really grossed out by it. I don't know how old I was. I must have been like 13. I did not like it. Mary and the Witch's Flower. I remember the ending being bad. I don't remember how it ended. I just remember not liking it. But I think the rest of it was okay. So a 7. Okay. This one, I remember being very pretty to look at. But I'm pretty sure the story made no sense. Or I can't remember if I'm conflating it with Mary and the Witch's Flower. Because I think one of these did not make any sense. And I was just like confused the whole time. Also, I guess I forgot to write, what do you rate Children of the Sea? Well, okay, I fixed it. So this was like a 4. Reborn as a Vending Machine was dumb. I don't know, like a 6. Haiwan no Renmei, I loved it. It's a 10. The mystery was really cool. I have so many questions, which I guess will never be answered. It just gave me like a sad feeling, I guess. Paprika, I must have been like 13. And I was obsessed with the parade scene. I'd give it an 8. Diabolic Lovers, I think this is the only one I gave a 1. Another was one of the first animes I ever watched. So I think it was like a 7. Obey Me Subjects. Obey Me World. All Hail Lelouch. 10 out of 10, excellent. Pupa, I thought this was like a cool concept, but I'm pretty sure that didn't make any sense either. 3. Okay, hooray. So your average rating of these specific anime is 6. That worked. I guess we could test it out by like putting a 1 on all of them. Okay, let's see. Yeah, we get a 1. I do wonder like what happens if I don't enter anything. Oh. Oh, and I can't go back? What the heck? What if I enter like letters? I guess it broke. Your average for this specific anime is... What the heck? Okay, well, that was a lot of fun. Please correct me if I got anything wrong in the comments or if you have any advice. I'm still learning, so it might help me out or anyone else who might come across this video. Like I mentioned at the start, I have so many ideas and so many things I want to do, but I also think I indulge in self-sabotage a lot. My mind is everywhere, everything all at once, so I find it hard to focus sometimes, but I know that I'll be an expert programmer one day, and I'll be able to accomplish my visions, and an expert on all the other subjects I want to be in, which is why I'm documenting myself as irresponsible and bad as I seem now. Along the way, I'll be able to see how little I knew now, and I think it will be very motivating to see any amount of progress I make. So I'm speaking to you, future ShadowyKorkut. What does it feel like to make so much progress? I can only imagine. And if anyone would like to help me stay accountable or study with me, you can join my Discord, subscribe, and like if you're curious where this will go. Even if it doesn't feel like it, you'd be helping me out a lot. Also check out my link tree in the description. It's a list of all of my socials. Let's learn and have fun together. Forever. Okay, bye. I love you.